All right, so I've been obviously very open about my hair journey. I feel like I've been on it for 7 years now. And for a while, I felt maybe a little bit alone, but then I learned that there are millions of Americans experiencing thinning hair. And not only is it common, it's normal. It's really not openly talked about as much as I would like to see, which can make you feel really lonely. So join the thousands of women that are standing up for their strands by doing something about it with Nutrafol. If you watch my Instagram stories, or listen to the pod, which you're doing right now, so duh, then you already know how in love I am with Nutrafol. I've been on it for 2 years, and it has become such an important part of my daily routine, and I think it will be forever, if I'm being honest. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement for women. It's clinically shown to improve your hair growth, visible thickness, and visible scalp coverage. I've definitely noticed that. They have 4 unique formulas to support women, and each is physician formulated using natural, drug-free, medical-grade ingredients so you get the most reliable results. You can go to Nutrafol.com, take their hair health wellness quiz, and identify causes of your thinning hair. Then Nutrafol will give you a personalized plan for better hair growth through whole body wellness. And in a clinical study, 86% of women reported improved hair growth after 6 months. Take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering my listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code VINE. Find out why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code VINE. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code VINE. I'm Kaitlyn Bristowe. Your session is now starting. Welcome to the
I literally was like, I think it's too early for me to drink, and I just am so stressed out right now. God. Cheers. Are you having a glass of wine?
I'm having a spritz. Cheers, honey.
A spritz?
It's 1:45 here, right? I'm in the middle of a work day. I have children I have to attend to at 5, so I was like, let's spritz it up.
Spritz it up.
You know?
That's always the best call. Okay, well, happy National Wine Day.
What a holiday.
What a holiday. Every other national day anybody does, I'm like, this is so stupid. Unless it's National Wine Day, National Fine Nurses Day, Golden Retriever Day, but like National like Baked Potato Day, get the out of here.
Yeah, I'm not here
Exit the
for it.
building. No.
It's just a great opportunity for like potatoes to do like a marketing push that day.
I'm like, who's funding this, Mr. Potato Head?
We all need our day.
Oh, that's so Canadian of you, Alex. So you've never been on the pod before, so this is exciting, which is funny
No.
because if people knew like the history of our friendship or like things that we've gotten into in our past, we could do like, I mean, probably a whole year's worth of podcasting, but we're not going to go there because we're professionals now.
Yeah, we're ladies, we're professionals, we're in our 30s, we're retired party girls.
Well, sometimes.
Yeah, I am.
Once in a blue moon, we can still get after it. But most of my listeners know who you are either from the Big Wine Guy events or Spade and Sparrows Instagram account. You went viral a couple times on TikTok with Spade and Sparrows. But for new listeners or ones living under a freaking rock, could you please do us the honor of introducing yourself?
I would love to. My name's Alexandra Lightman. I am the Director of Operations for Kaitlyn's wine brand, Spade and Sparrows. We've been working together for about 4 years now, and I am coming to you guys live from Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada, which is the wine region of Canada.
And aka my happy place.
Your happy place that you're coming to soon. I get to see you soon. I'm so excited.
I am truly counting down the days because Kelowna and the Okanagan in general really is like a place that grounds me, makes me happy. Even the last time I was there, I had a full Menti B, so who am I kidding? I don't know anymore.
You did.
Well, that was when I was trying to come off my antidepressants and I was PMSing and I got diagnosed with PMDD and I was very overwhelmed. And there's this whole thing that people have been talking about where like when you go home, sometimes you are triggered by old patterns and sometimes that gets like brought back up in you. But that's for another podcast. This is more.
And I forced you to do a full day of photo shoot and be happy and act like you're having a great girls' day. And you did a great job.
I was down on
It was
inside,
a joint effort.
Joint effort for sure. Okay, so I get so many questions about, my businesses, and honestly, I'm not the best sometimes at like sharing that part of my life, or even sometimes articulating that part of my life. Because I'm like, well, I only have like a couple seconds on Instagram stories, and I don't really know how to take someone like in a day in the life. And sometimes I just get lazy or I forget. So I thought for National Wine Day, it would be the perfect opportunity to bring you on, talk business, wine, life. So happy National Wine Day. I know we already said that, but just another reason to cheers and take another
Just
sip.
cheers again.
Cheers again. So let's tell people how we did first meet. What's your first memory of me, or your first, like, what was the word I'm looking for? See, not good at articulating.
You know what? If you're asking me, like, if when the first time we met, I have no fucking clue, to be honest. Like, we were running in very similar circles. We were in Vancouver, both working at Cactus, not the same Cactus, but we were in the Cactus circle. Cactus, for those of you who don't know, was like the hottest restaurant to work at in Vancouver in our heyday. We were both
Yep,
dating hockey players. You were with
yep,
Brett, I was with Biz. We were both going to the Roxy. Like, there was so much, like, we were like incestual, but
yeah.
like we never, like, we weren't best friends, but we were like so like connected. And then there was the Cleo connection, and then like just so many connections. I literally have no recollection of first meeting you. Do you?
I'm trying to.
I was
No, I
probably
remember.
blackout.
I remember thinking you were really pretty and cool. And
Oh
so, like, no, but I hated you because I was just insecure and
no.
jealous at that time. So I was always like, oh, she seems so cool. And then I just remember we had so many mutual friends. And then when I started dating Brett, you were really good friends with his ex who hated me. So she wanted you to hate me. And
I had to hate you, but then it was
yeah.
so hard because I was also like, she's really funny and I really like her.
And then
But
you
then my
didn't
friend
hate
was like,
me.
you need to hate her. And I was like, okay, sorry.
I think you've had like two people in your life now who have told you to hate me because I dated their
Yes.
previous boyfriends. It's very bizarre.
Well, you got around. What? No.
Hey, they didn't call me Kaitlyn Slutty Bristowe for no reason. Just kidding. I just
No.
made that up. That was a really stupid nickname. Well, okay, this is funny because people often ask me for advice on how to land a job that they love and run businesses. And now, if you asked me when we first met and in my life years and years and over a decade ago, I would have laughed. But now, look at us now. We're running this business, and I just want everyone to know how you ended up as our director of operations since it started such a weird friendship.
I mean, I would have to say like sex would be the number one because I'm married to your business partner, right? So sex, blowjobs, those sort of things, sexual
You
favors,
still
a
do those
lot
when you're
of
married with kids?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow, good for you.
So obviously that's what connected us over the business because you founded it with Cleo and my husband Aaron, who's a corporate lawyer. You guys are the three co-founders, but I was on mat leave kind of at the time when everything was coming together. So I had worked for Chip Wilson, who, if you don't know, is the founder of Lululemon. And I'd worked not for Lululemon, but for his holding company that sort of managed and oversaw everything from all of his real estate investments, his philanthropy, his private equity, his family wealth. And he's a billionaire. So there's a lot of it. And
Right,
I'd been there for 6 years. It was like full on job. I worked just as much as Aaron, who's like, 10-year corporate lawyer at that point. It was absolutely crazy managing all aspects of his life. And I was on maternity leave. You guys started it. I had Jack, and my idea was I was going to go back to Chip. That was the plan. I was going to take a year off and go back to Chip. And then
right,
I realized like having a baby and going back to that job, I would never be home. I'd never see Jack. I would have had a full-time nanny and I would have gotten home, had dinner, been on my phone all night, gotten up, left again. And I was like, this is really not the life that I wanted. This is not the balance that I wanted. So, and I think simultaneously, all three of you also realized you had so many other projects going on that there
yeah,
needed to be like one person who was constant and who was managing everything and bringing you guys together and just overseeing everything. So I think pretty quickly you were all like, we better bring someone on. And then Aaron
yeah,
was like, okay, I think it should be you. You'd be great at this. I'm like, I don't know if I want to come work for this wine startup. I'm like, I have a great job like in Vancouver. Working for Chip is like, you've got the golden ticket. Everyone wants to
right,
work for him. And so I was like very ambivalent, but also looking at my life and going like, I'm not going to see my baby if I do this. So I feel like that was a big kind of risk for me. And I was like, oh, let's see how this goes. Cause who knows where the business was going to go at that point. It was so new.
right.
And
Yeah,
then,
that's
yeah,
true.
inch by inch, it just kind of started and started like taking on more responsibility and doing a little bit more. And then I was able really to like create my own position really within the business. And I would always come to you guys with like, how about we do this and how about we do this? And everyone was like, game, let's do it. Let's go. So really it was the right timing. It was the right timing in my life. I had been in my last job 6 years, had a baby, and was excited for something new, definitely something creative. Because I feel like I was a really creative person, but I didn't have that in my last role.
You had no experience in like, the wine world, but you had probably learned so many skills from working for Chip. And so to come speak to people who, want to land their dream job but have no experience and what they need to know going into something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I have zero wine industry experience, which I think is pretty shocking for some people to hear. And at times I would have imposter syndrome because I would be like, oh God, they should have hired some old man with like 20 years wine industry experience because I don't know the lingo. I don't know how to do these types of presentations. Like, you know how that feels. But then, in hindsight, looking back, I realized that if you'd hired someone like that, we never would have done a fraction or a quarter of all the things that we've done because none of us having wine industry experience came at it with like fresh eyes. We did things that people were always like, you can't do that in the wine industry. That's not how it's done. That's not how it's been done before. And we were like, okay, that would be kind of like our green light to keep marching forward. So I would say if you're trying to break into an industry, if you feel passionate about an industry that you have no experience in, if you're a resourceful person, if you're a hardworking person, if you utilize now even with AI, like you don't need to ask many questions.
Crazy.
You can just go ask the internet. Be like, explain to me how you do a retail presentation for a wine buyer. It'll probably like write the whole thing for you now.
It's actually crazy.
Yeah, just be resourceful. And then when you do get to, sit in with industry experts in any way, just like glean as much information from them as possible. And if you're like a go-getter, I mean, your podcast manager, like Alicia,
yeah,
she was like coming in and wanting to work for you, and she knew she wanted to work for you. This is why I respect Alicia so much. She was like, I'm going to get this job. And she found any like avenue to get herself in and prove herself and show her worth and show her value. And then boom, look at her now, managing everything, running the show.
And now I literally could not do the show without her, and she is the shit. And what she did was have a vagina, because you know how I feel about balls, they're weak.
Yeah.
And she was just willing to almost like shamelessly plug herself because she knew she could do like a good job. And I just loved her hustle, and I loved that I don't think she had other expertise in the podcast space, but she knew that she was creative. She knew she had the same sense of humor as me. She knew she was a hard worker, and she proved herself. And then now she's like my main man.
She's your main bitch, honestly. And she's like, I'm obsessed with her, like maybe an unhealthy obsession, because she is so funny and she's such a hard worker, and she's so good at what she does and very creative. But like, she was part of the Big Wine Guy Club. Like, she was like helping create content for Spade and Sparrows. She was interjecting herself. She should come on the podcast and talk about this. Like, if you want to get in with someone and they respect hustle and they respect hard work, show them that. And then once you get into the role, just grind, and then they're going to be like perfect. But having no wine industry experience actually helped us so much, because it's an industry that's like, I always say, it's ripe for innovation. It's ripe for the female perspective. It's a bunch of older white gentlemen running it, and it was time for some sort of freshness.
I agree. What is your take on quote unquote women having it all?
I think that women can have it all, but just not all at once. I think that's a pretty common statement. Like right now, the zone I'm in with an 8-month-old Hendrix and a 5-year-old, and then managing this business, my main focuses are work and my 2 babies. And, the things that are on the back burner for me right now are, maybe my fitness, like my personal time, my own hobbies. Aaron and I's relationship and travel and adventure. Not to say that those things aren't happening at all. That's when you get into
Right.
like the danger zone, but they're just not my focus at the moment. So I think you can have it all, but you just have to prioritize sort of when and where. And if you try to do it all, you're just gonna burn out. And then I always remind myself, if I don't show up like as the best version of myself for my kids, for my work, for my husband, whatever, like I'm serving no one. So you really
Hmm.
do have to sort of like step back and be like, okay, what are the essentials that I need to do for myself to feel like complete and whole to be able to show up? But it's such a myth to be able to be like, you can have it all. We don't expect that from men. We don't expect them to like be a dad full time, run a business, have like hobbies, be fit, be hot, be all these
Have
things.
their
It's like,
grind
why do we expect
time,
that from
like
women?
have their self-care time. Yeah, it's true. It's true. The
Yeah.
expectations are out of control. What do you think the hardest part of your job is?
I would say, I think explaining to, like we talked about before, older white gentlemen who are running the wine industry from all aspects, distribution, retail, winemaking, what we have, like why we have something special, why it's different, what's special about you as the face of our brand, as the founder of our brand. Um, Getting into things like TikTok trends, podcast stats, trying to really explain that in a way that they can digest it, see it, and then be willing to take a chance on it,
Hmm.
to place it in their stores, to buy it, et cetera, et cetera. That's probably like the most uphill battle that I think we've all felt as a company.
Yeah.
And then I would say in the wine industry, and this might be similar in all beverage, I'm not sure, but specifically in the wine industry, it's like such a long life cycle of decision making. So if, for example, we present to a retailer for fall and we don't get in, we have to wait like a whole 12 more months to be able to
Yeah.
present to them again. So sometimes it just feels like you're just like, oh my God, this is taking forever. And then
Hmm.
and then the other on the flip side of that coin, when something does happen, it feels like everything happens at once. We get five new retailers, we have like
Yeah.
10 events going on, and it's like all has to happen within these 2 week time frame. And you're like, couldn't this have happened last month, you know?
Yeah, it is. It's you're right. It's like so many extremes. And why do you think that Post Malone's wine is getting taken off the shelves and Kaitlyn Bristowe's wine is getting put on more shelves?
So this is the thing about consumers. I think that it's ridiculous that any sort of like marketing branding agency is looking at consumers and thinking that they're stupid. Like at the end of
Yeah.
the day, if you have a celebrity and you just give them a product that they're not aligned with, they've never talked about, they've never shared that they enjoy it, they're never seen with it, and then all of a sudden they come out with this, whatever it is, wine, a guitar, a vibrator, who cares? It's just like they're just assuming that consumers are dumb. And I think, yeah, no one likes that. It's nice. Like Post Malone first posted, it's a beautiful bottle. I haven't tried
It's
it, but I've
beautiful.
heard that it's decent rosé. But like, why Post Malone? Why rosé? Don't you think he would have been better with like beer,
Yeah.
cigarettes, face tattoos, like something that you would have been like, yeah, that's
It's
right. You
true.
go, Posty. But Kaitlyn Bristowe has been drinking wine, well, since I've known you forever.
Yeah.
But you've been drinking wine publicly in the public eye since the moment you got on the show. You drink your own wine. I don't want to say every day because I'm gonna make you sound like an alky, but like
I
you drink your
it's
wine
up there.
almost every day. And like you're out there talking to your community about wine, going to wine events. Like you always say, you'd stomp the grapes if you could. You're actually 100% involved in it in an authentic way. You love it. You're managing this company. It's just, you can't sustain a brand like that with Post Malone. I don't know how long I'm gonna have to scroll through his Instagram to try to find a picture of Maison number 9.
It's one of the, I think, number one things to remember and to tell people with wanting to start a brand is you have to like eat, sleep, breathe it, love it, and believe in it before you even start it. And it's wine to me. I was like, how cool. I eat, sleep, breathe wine, and I'm passionate about it. I love learning about it. I love the community around it. I love it bringing people together. There's so many things that I love about wine. And so it just felt like such an authentic thing to do. And then not only, do I love it, I get to go to whoever brings on my wine and go meet people that are buying it. And I feel like people like Post Malone and Snoop Dogg, they don't really need to. I'm out here grinding, but I love doing it.
Well, the thing is like, I guess there's a certain level of like celebrity, influencer, et cetera, that they're not gonna come to a store and they're not gonna meet this person that's coming to buy their wine and enjoying their wine. But I have been told by several store owners, managers, people that we interact with when we do these events that they have never seen someone, celebrity influencer, come in and spend so much time with each person when there are hundreds of people in line and you know that you're going to be there for hours and hours and hours. You talk to each person, you talk to them about their wines, you hold their babies, they bring their dogs. Like you actually genuinely are so excited to
Yeah.
meet these people, to thank them, to be there, to ask them, what did you think about the wine that you just tasted? Which one are you buying? Like it's just so authentic to who you are. And to be honest, like if it wasn't, business will chew you up and spit you out. If it's not,
Yeah.
if you're not deeply passionate about it, about the product that you're selling or about the business that you're running, like don't bother because it's
Yeah.
not easy.
What hurdles have we faced so far as a company, would you say?
Okay, so this is interesting because right off the bat, you guys face some pretty big hurdles. There was an issue with the first producer that we ever engaged with. Basically, long story short, you had come up with a formulation for the first wine that you wanted to drop, and you were super excited about it. And when we received the samples, we all tasted it, and we were like, "That's not the wine that you made."
Hmm. Hmm.
And I don't think you ever even shared that story, but we got it, and we were like, "They're trying to screw us. They're trying to put disgusting wine, cheap, disgusting, so sweet, so sugary. It was awful. Like none of us could even
Really bad.
pretend that we liked it
Yeah.
in the bottle. And then they're trying to tell you that that's what you formulated. And we were all like, thank God we all have a little bit of wine taste, I
Yeah.
suppose. And we were able
Yeah.
to be like, no, that's not it. And then we actually, didn't go into full production with that. And it just wasted so much time. It was like, I think it was very challenging. And my hat kind of goes off to you guys as the three founders to sort of continue to push forward when right out the gate you face like
Yeah.
two major
I was
barriers
so
for
defeated.
even selling wine. I can imagine you would be. And like, I love that TikTok trend when businesses share, you know, their failures and hurdles that they've had to go through, especially if you come out the other side, because really at that point, then it's just like it's a learning lesson and you're better for it. But I love hearing about stuff like that. And I think too often it just seems like businesses are just like on this upward trajectory and everything's going great, but it's it's not the case.
I know I could do a whole other series, on behind the scenes of Spade and Sparrows of what didn't work. Obviously, we're going to celebrate what has worked and we're going to try and move forward and celebrate our wins. But there are so many things behind the scenes that, like you said, the first thing that happened, like I was so defeated. I was like, is this going to go anywhere? And it's about like pushing through and believing in it. And, you know, finding the right team is really important, which we've done a really good job of now. Our team is so solid. We are small, we are mighty.
Hey, have you guys ever found yourselves doing the old laundry and stopped to think, why does laundry detergent come in these massive plastic jugs? Like, who wants that? And 91% of those inconvenient, awkward, heavy jugs end up in landfills and oceans, harming our planet and marine life. And there has to be a better way. Well, and there is. You switch to Earth Breeze like I did. So my Earth Breeze laundry detergent eco sheets look like dryer sheets, but surprise, they're not. It's actually a revolutionary liquidless laundry detergent that dissolves 100% in any wash cycle, hot or cold. No measuring, no mess, no heavy plastic jugs. Just toss the sheet in. It's super easy and actually works so well, which is bonus. Earth Breeze is tough on stains. It fights odors, and your clothes come out clean every single time. I have tested this theory. It's true. So much easier to store too. And they offer flexible subscriptions that can be adjusted, paused, or canceled by you at any time. No contracts, no fees. They're delivered right to your door via free carbon neutral shipping at a frequency that you can set that works for your unique lifestyle. And don't just take my word for it. You can try for yourself with the risk-free 100% satisfaction guarantee. So switch from the old-fashioned goo to something new. Right now, my listeners can subscribe to Earth Breeze and save 40%. Go to earthbreeze.com/vine to get started. That's earthbreeze.com/vine for 40% off. earthbreeze.com/vine.
I kind of just asked you my own question with what makes, Post Malone's wine go and mine stay. So do you think that was kind of your answer for what makes Spade and Sparrow's wine different from other brands?
It's part of it. I mean, you're a huge part of that, right? So when you have like the face of your brand and the CEO running your brand who's actually 100% engaged, 100% passionate about the product, it makes a huge difference. There's lots of companies where they don't have that and they're still successful, but I think we make really delicious wine. That's number one. Number two is that we're marketing it to the people that are actually drinking it. So I think for a long time, I was really trying to understand, like, why did all these millennial women drink J. Lore? And I went
Yeah.
back and I went deep and I went far and I was like, what connected them to this brand? Why do they all drink Josh? Why do we all drink Kim Crawford? Like, there's just those specific brands that everyone just always brought to girls' night, always brought to a party. And it was like, I look at these brands, I'm like, they're not speaking to the female millennial wine consumer at all, like 0%. And so the thing that Spade and Sparrows does differently is like we relate to the females, to their life, to when they're actually drinking wine. We don't glamorize it. It's not about being snobby or exclusive or having this perfectly curated table set amongst like a vineyard. Like it's like that's nice sometimes, and we all aspire to have those nights. Those girls' nights. That's very special when we do. But really, like a lot of us, if you're like, we just had our nurses content. You have like a long shift at the hospital. You come home, you pour yourself a glass of Pinot Grigio that's already cracked from the night before, and you sit down, you just have like a moment to decompress, and you scroll TikTok for like probably way too long just to like give yourself a break. Like that's the reality of how a lot of us are drinking wine. If you're a mom, it's like, you know what that looks like. And I think because we do create some beautiful content, but I think because we're based in reality and we're actually talking to the demographic that's enjoying our product, I think that makes us totally different from a ton of wine brands out there.
I keep looking at myself in this little box thinking I was like Paddington Bear. Like, what is happening?
No, I think it's cute. I like that.
You know who Paddington Bear is?
Yes, of course I do. I have many of the books.
I feel like it might be Canadian. No, I
Get some
completely
get some marmalade and just enjoy yourself.
I'm just gonna do a TikTok about it. No, I think I agree with everything that you said. I mean, one of the first things that we learned in the wine industry was that it was so marketed to men, and none of the bottles were popping off to us or speaking to us, and none of the branding of it was either. And there's no sort of community with J. Lore or community with other wine brands, and I don't feel like anyone's really like listening to their audience where that is our number one. I consider all of our wine drinkers, our big wine guys, our vinos, everyone. I see them as ambassadors for the brand, for the company. I want their opinions. I want them to like tell us their feedback because we listen because it's for them. And I feel like we do a
Absolutely.
really great job of that.
I think so too. And I mean, now that I've gotten to the bottom of it, I really think that sometimes you feel like these brands, like it felt like these brands that people had, like let's say Josh, all of a sudden it was just everyone had it, but really they've been working at it for over a decade. And
Yeah.
then, as you get more distribution, you get better placement in the stores, and it kind of is this sort of cascading effect, which is why everyone sort of just started drinking it at one point, or so it seemed.
Yeah.
But we're doing something totally different, and we are creating those brand ambassadors, and we are creating a community, and we are getting out there and really like meeting people and talking about the wine and throwing events and just trying to relate to their everyday reality in a way that I don't see any other brands doing.
Yeah. Pinot's breathing very heavily into my mic. Um, I also figure since, we might as well use this time to do our regular meetings.
Hmm.
How do you think the Costco meeting went for us? Because that's really exciting. I've had Costco, Target, of course, and then Costco's been on my vision board too because the one in Scottsdale, I think, is the largest wine carrier in like America, isn't it?
I think so. It's definitely up there. I think the meeting went very well. The buyer has agreed to launch Spade and Sparrows at Costco's across Arizona, and we're actually going to be going down there. So the Vinos get to hear it first. We're going to be there on Friday, June 23rd, for an event in Scottsdale at the Scottsdale Costco. So if you're in the Arizona area, you got to come on down. I
Yes.
think I was going to talk to you about this. I think this event, we should say that everyone wears pink to the event. We should go big. What
I
do you
love
think?
it. I'm so down for
Yeah,
it.
I think so. We've got enough time. We can get it out there. Let's get it like a sea of beautiful women in pink at Costco.
Yeah. Or guys could wear pink too. Whoever wants to show up and
Guys
wear
can
pink,
come,
whatever you want.
dogs, babies, whatever. Bring
Yep.
them all.
Anything that has a heartbeat.
But I love going to Costco on Friday. I do that a lot. It's like not that busy on Friday nights, and we need to get some groceries for the weekend, and that's like our little date night right now.
You get some samples.
We do. We sample it up for dinner. We attach Hendrix in the carrier. We walk around. We see things. We get out of the house. It's quite a time.
That is incredible. I do love a date night Costco night. That's you're painting a very cute picture. But yeah, how did we choose our varietals?
When we sat down and thought about all the different wines that we could produce out of California, working with our winemaker, he has access to vineyards across California. So there was, no shortage of options, but it was really like, what do you love? What are you going to drink? What do you want to share? Because we didn't want to create anything that you wouldn't want to bring to your best friend's house to go hang out, play cards, enjoy with all your friends and loved ones. So really it came down to you. And that's why we started kind of with the reds, and we found sort of the perfect formulation for your Pinot Noir, which is your number one love, and your Cab, and then found a rosé and a white that you love, because those aren't necessarily your go-to.
Right.
But when we created a rosé that wasn't too sweet, it was like fruit forward but dry, similar to a French rosé, you were like, I love this. So crisp, so delicious. And same thing with the Pinot Grigio. Like people always ask, why did you do a Pinot Grigio and not a Chardonnay? It was because the Pinot Grigio for us was so thirst quenching, so easy drinking with citrus and like crisp green apple. It's just like you could really pair it with almost anything. You could drink it with food, without. It's not super sweet again. It's low sugar. It's just something that we thought would be a real crowd pleaser and that you really enjoyed drinking. So, I mean, I think it's the long, simple answer. It's because
I
you
know.
love it.
It is because I love it. And a lot of people want to know if there are different or more varietals coming in the future. And I think the short answer is yes.
I think so. I think it just has to come down to you finding again something that you love. You're not going to put something out there just because someone says, "Oh, this varietal is popular right now," or "orange wine is having a moment," or whatever. You're not going to just put that out because of that.
Well,
You have to love it.
the amount of people that have asked for me to make a Moscato, and I'm just like, I can't do it because I got to be able to enjoy my own wine because it really is the only wine that I drink. So I've got to enjoy it. I used to
Exactly.
not like Chardonnay. Now I love Chardonnay. I love bubbles. I love so many other varietals that we're thinking about, and we are so lucky to work with an incredible winemaker that I can literally talk about my palate to and what I like, and he can make anything happen, and it's really freaking cool.
Yeah, we're very lucky. We have such an amazing team, and I think that there's definitely more coming out on the horizon. But also, I think in business in general, it's a bit of a risky proposition to extend your product line really, really far. When
Yeah.
we have four solid products right now, what we really need to focus on instead of expanding the product line is really just getting our four very solid
Everywhere.
offerings into stores so that people can be shopping and just pick it up off the shelf.
Yes, before we expand, we must expand national at Target and get everywhere. And let's get into Target a bit because I remember when it was such a pipe dream, or like we call it from our cactus days, the BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal was always to get into Target. And I remember just thinking it was such a huge dream. And now we are in Target and we're growing in Target and we're proving ourselves to Target. So let's tell the story about how we got into Target.
So this is funny because this kind of comes back to what I said before about the wine industry having this really long sales cycle. So we were like, I think we had just missed the opportunity to present to them at one point, and it was like going to be another year before we could present again. And these presentations, the way that they go in the wine industry is that you fill out like a PowerPoint. You feel like you're in 1999. It's like the most
Yep.
archaic PowerPoint. You talk to no one. You see no human beings. You send that into your distributor, and then your distributor. At that point, we were with a different distributor that sucked, and they didn't know anything about our brand or the power of our brand or you or anything. So I knew, even though they had this PowerPoint that I put together for them, that they weren't going to do a good job of representing our brand when they went and talked to Target. And I
Right.
was just like, guys, we're hitting our head against a wall. So we need to talk to Target. We need to find the Target wine buyers and we need to get in front of them. We need a Zoom call with them. And so that's kind of when COVID was like kind of in the thick of it and TikTok was just like blowing up. And I became so deeply addicted to TikTok.
Same.
I remember being like, let's do a TikTok trend and that's like really going off and let's call them out. And so we did. And of course, the Vinos, the big wine guys came it came out like in droves with comments and tags, and to the point where like Target couldn't ignore us. And then that's when we got our first call with them. But that was like that's going back to over 2 years now. So this is not something Target. I don't think I can't speak for them, but I don't think that they make any quick decisions. I think that they
Yeah.
really make sure that they're putting the right brands in their store, and that's why they have such a good offering.
That's true. We really had to, use and abuse the old vinos and tagging Target, but that's why I call them my ambassadors. That's why they help, and that's why if they keep going, they can get it at their liquor stores. They've done wonders for Spade and Sparrows, and that's why I love going to meet them and being like, "Let me kiss you on the lips because you are amazing."
Yes. French kissing. But I wanted to actually, I knew I was coming on here and I was like, gonna text you this weekend. But then I was like, no, you know what? I'm gonna tell her on the pod.
What?
So this is like for real. Everyone, I'm telling Kaitlyn this for the first time. So last week, we received an email from our distributor, and Target has approved expansion in Florida, Ohio, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and then all the stores in Georgia and more stores in Texas starting in the fall. I know. She's speechless. So it's very, very, very exciting. We got the same date. When I say it rains, when it rains, it pours in this business. We got Costco, Arizona, and then that news within 40 minutes of each other. I was like,
Holy, that is fucking awesome. Oh
I
my gosh,
know
because I'm
it
sitting here
worked.
thinking like, like I want to go national so bad. I want the wine to be available for everybody. I know shipping is so expensive. I live for the big wine guy club. Like I know all these things, and it's one of those things that I just envision every day. I'm like, my wine will be national. That's what I want. I want to go to every state. I want to shake everybody's hand. I want to hug everybody. I want to meet everybody's babies. I want to go everywhere and just have the wine available. And that is like the coolest thing, because one of my favorite things with Spade and Sparrows was the community. I even said it on Jason's podcast. I was like, I am beating a dead horse about community, but it is the most important thing to me, to the brand, to businesses, and to have it go national and even just like start to grow. Like that's so huge.
Yeah, so those are all set for fall. Like I don't
Holy
have
crap.
any more information except for we saw an Excel spreadsheet and it had those states and it had Spade and Sparrows varietals listed in them. And it's like I think over 550 new placements starting in fall. So it's happening, and it doesn't mean like that's not national yet.
No, not yet.
Everyone's always asking, when can I get it at my Target? So just to give some information, not every Target can sell alcohol. So that's one thing. Even if you have Target in your states, like in Tennessee, you can't buy alcohol at your Target.
Right.
But in all the states that can sell alcohol, that is our goal, to get into every one of those stores. And this is a huge step in the right direction. But still, they're watching us. So that means that when it is in the stores, all the vinos need to go out, buy it up, drink it up, post it, share it, tag Target. You know the drill.
Yeah, they do know the drill quite well. I'm
They
obsessed.
know the drill. I'm
I
obsessed.
I'm so
I
obsessed.
love them.
Getting to them because they have questions. So questions from the Vinos. How do you balance being a mom and working?
Um, I don't know if I do balance it. I guess I do. I
You
I
do.
think if in all honesty, it's having help.
Uh-huh.
I don't think they like we used to mother in villages. I always talk about this. We used to have our mothers and our aunts and our sisters, and we all used to be together sharing the load. And now we mother very much in isolation. So you have to buy your own village now. So when I was pregnant with Hendrix, I had very hard first sort of year with my first son, like tons and tons of anxiety, a lot of postpartum anxiety. It was very, very hard for me. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to do it again, I'm going to do it totally differently. And I don't want this to come off like I'm so out of touch when I say we had a night nurse, because we budgeted and saved for it for the whole year. People will be like, oh, well, she can do that because of X, Y, and Z. It's like we set out knowing we're going to be spending this much on a night nurse so that my mental health can stay up here. I can
Totally.
continue working. And then we also have a nanny that helps me with Hendrix, and Jack goes to preschool. So really, like, the balance comes in having support and help. And yeah, wine helps.
I know it's like, well, and people also could be like, well, I can't afford a nanny, and then it's like, but the thing is, if you can, you're going to. If you have help, like Your mom comes down and helps you sometimes, you know, like ask
Oh
friends
yeah.
and family to be there. I wish Kat would ask me to come watch Chandler all the time. I'm like, ask me, use your community, use your friends, your family. They would
I
love to
know we
come and
don't
help.
though. We
No,
don't.
you
It's so
don't.
weird why moms don't. And we don't ask and then we just suffer. And I think the thing that I always say to friends like you, because I have friends that say the same thing, I'm like, just show up.
Yeah.
Just show up at any point at any time. Because at any
Oh,
point
that's
at any
so
time, there's
funny.
something that you could help with. You can just literally be like, hi, I'm here. I'm gonna go play with him.
Yeah, that's what I used to do for my friend Bree. I would be like, I'm gonna unload your dishwasher. I'm sorry if things were in the
Yeah.
wrong place, but I'm just gonna do that for you. I do think that's such a good call. Just show up and do it, something for them.
Because moms are so like, they're like, no, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it myself. And we keep telling her, because we have to tell ourselves that every day to try to get through.
But then you got to be careful because those unwanted friends might show up and you've been avoiding them, and they're like, "I just show up." Caitlin said to.
No, not if you're one of those friends. But if you're the bestie, if you're one of those people and
Yeah.
you're like, you want to help, just show up.
Ooh, Bree has a good question. How do you approach your job differently than a man would?
Oh, hmm. I mean, I think it's interesting. We have an all-female team, except for Erin.
Yeah.
But besides Erin, it's all women. And so it's been a very different dynamic than my previous role. In my previous role, there was a lot of like direct communication that could almost be viewed as being like, a bit of an asshole, but it was just very direct. You knew exactly what they
Yep.
wanted. But
Yep.
with all women, I think there is a lot of like just being more concerned and thoughtful about someone's feelings, about someone's, state of mind, not offending them. And I think sometimes we have to find a better balance in that. Like
Uh-huh.
we always talk about this, how it's like this is business where it's not personal. If you don't like the same label
Right.
that I like, doesn't mean we can't still be cool when we get off the call. And so I think the one thing I do like about working with a lot of women though is that we stop and we consider external circumstances a lot. Like, yeah, how have you did you sleep last night? Like, how's it going? You were sick? We check in with each other. It's very supportive. And then I think, like we talked about before, we market to women and their experience and their life and what the way they're actually drinking wine and the way that they're actually coming together enjoying our product. It's not all about like perfection. It's just
Hmm.
about like having a moment that you enjoy, maybe in solitude by yourself after you put the kids to bed, or maybe, with your girlfriends having a girls' night in, just like dancing on the kitchen counter, being wild and just getting that like really good soulful feeling from it. It's like men can't speak to that experience. So yeah, I don't know if I answered that.
You did. I like that. And last one. Mm, somebody said, "When are you coming to Florida?" Girl, we there. Wait. The same person who wants to know when we're coming to Florida wants to know how all our wines are so good and low sugar.
I mean, that's an interesting thing, right, with low sugar because you don't like sweet, and I don't think a wine has to be sweet to taste good. There's so much more that goes into the flavor profile than sugar,
Yeah.
right? So it depends what you like. If you're like you said, if you want a Gewürztraminer or something like that that has that really sweet flavor profile, you probably won't love our wine. It may not be your go-to, but like with everything else, with all the notes and everything like that, they're so smooth, they're so delicious. Like vanilla isn't super sugary, but the Pinot Noir has this like lovely vanilla note that's so smooth and so delicious with like a little bit of spice. It's like there's so much more that goes into wine than it just being sweet. So yeah, all of them are low sugar, which is nice. Less hangover too.
Less hangover too. I always like to tell people too, if they want it more sweeter, you can always make wine more sweeter yourself. Like you can literally put fruit in your wine and make it sweeter. You can literally dunk a piece of like really like what is the word that I don't want to like strike our misophonia of, even this would like drive me nuts, but like the like the watermelon when it's not like super like white and dry, it's like really juicy. It looks
Yes.
beautiful in a wine glass. You literally just put that in your rosé. Like there's so many cool ways, and
Oh my God,
you know,
popsicles, sour keys. What do
yeah,
people always do? Like fuzzy peaches in the rosé.
yep,
Like you can easily make it sweeter if you want to, but
yeah.
I don't think it needs to be. It's so, like she said, it's so delicious without being
It really
high
is.
in sugar.
That's why the best part, because it's low sugar, our wines still have a fruit forwardness to it, so it's not super sugary and still like can give that those people who love something sweet, it will satisfy you, but it's for also for dry wine lovers who don't want, all the sugar. Okay,
Exactly.
it's the time to be honest, if I'm being honest. It's time to be honest. Am I drunk already? No, I'm not. Uh,
I hope so.
but I mean, no, I'm really not. But it is midday, and I haven't had too much to eat, so maybe I'm a little. Oh, hi, Pino. Hello, sir. Oh, okay. Nope, not right now.
Pinot.
I love you, though. I love you so much. And now Ramon's gonna come over and be a little shit. Okay. Um. So, if you're being honest, what is something that's happened to you that you're maybe a little embarrassed about after a couple too many glasses of vino? Is that
Hmm.
Aaron talking in the
I mean,
background?
what, yeah. Oh, I think he's out there with Hendrix now. Can you hear him?
Uh-huh.
Oh, sorry. That's what you get over here around these parts.
I like it.
So I'm trying to think, like, I wanted to I want to give the Vino something good. So there's not, like I said, more of a retired party girl now. There's not too much that I'm getting up to now besides like snot sucking. Like I caught like a live action poo yesterday.
Nice.
That was unique. And so I'm thinking like, should I go like, maybe like an old school
Yes.
story?
Yes.
Do you think that they need to hear the Leo story?
What's the Leo story?
I never told you this.
I don't know. Tell me now.
Like Leonardo DiCaprio story?
Oh, tell that story. Yeah, I do know this.
It's either that or like how I
No,
used
you
to.
got to tell that now.
Okay. I have to tell it now. It is also very timely. I don't know why he's on TikTok all the time right now. I think he was in Cannes Film Festival and he looks like he's on Molly or something, and everyone's getting these hilarious
Really?
clips of him. So it's very, very timely because he's hot again right now.
Oh, is he
Okay.
hot again? Because
So going,
this must have been when he was hot if it was back in the day. I mean, he's
oh,
always hot. He's
I was
Leo.
21. I'm I'm 36 now, not good at math. I was 21. So you guys do the math.
It takes
But it
time.
was our first girls' trip, like big girls' trip to Vegas. There was about 12 of us, and we'd never been to Vegas. We were like, used to going out in Vancouver, never done like the super club thing, bottle service, none of that. This is all new. So we're at the pool one day, and my cousin Laura, who who's
Yeah.
hilarious and awkward
Mm-hmm.
and funny and hot and all these things all together. She's just amazing. She comes running back. She's like, I met a promoter, and we're all like, what's that? Like, we have no idea. And she's like, I don't know. It's some guy that like works for a club. And he's like, if you come to my club tonight, I'll give you a bottle of vodka. So I'm like, we're all like, hell yeah, we'll do anything for a free bottle of vodka at this
Yeah.
point. Like little like sewer rats, like sure.
Sure.
And so we're whatever. We're partying at the pool all day. We go get ready. We're drinking tons of wine in the room. And when I say get ready, it was that era where we're all wearing Bebe dresses,
Yep.
probably like the same but in a different like rainbow of color. We used to tape our boobs, so we'd get like we had all had electrical duct tape, and you'd tape from one side to the other. Like tape your boobs together, and then you have to fill the gap at the bottom. So we'd have like socks or like whatever in there, and then we all looked like we had huge fake boobs. And we all had the same like big barrel crimper wand. So we all had like this huge crimp hair, the Bebe, the like 6-inch heel. Like you just have to like I have to set the scene because it's a lot. We go to the lobby of this hotel, and this guy comes up and he's like, yeah, okay, girls, like I'm going to take you into the club, whatever. So we go into this club, and they bring us to kind of this back area that's like a little bit sectioned off from the main area, which was like kind of popping off at this point now. And we're all kind of like back there, and we're sort of by ourselves in this like big booth. And we're like, oh, like we don't really want to be back here. We want to be like one with the people. We want to be on the dance floor. We want to be getting down. But the guy's like, no,
Yeah.
just like stay. And then he kind of like arranges us. Like he puts half the girls on the ledge up top, and like half of us that are like on the like lower seat part. And he's like, can you guys dance? We're like, sure, whatever you want from us, we'll do it for the free bottle of vodka. So we're dancing, and then all of a sudden, in comes walking Leonardo DiCaprio with him. We were like, oh, okay, like we're all like so stunned. But I will say, like, kudos to my group of girls. Everyone like kept it together. No one like went absolutely apeshit or like
Yeah.
fainted or went like, my favorite movie is the Titanic.
Can
Like
you imagine? Oh God.
nothing like that. So we're just like being casual, introducing ourselves, dancing. He's pouring drinks, whatever. Then we're all like, now we're all starting to get like pretty drunk, and he's like, this club's boring. Let's get out of here. Let's go to another one. So we like are like, okay. whatever. And so then we get in the limo and basically we go club to club to club. I think we went to 4 different clubs with him. And we are just having like the best time. And then this is like the funny drunk part for me was that he took us back to a suite at the Bellagio where he had like an after party, like catering, pool, gym, like there's like so much going on in this suite. And at this point, I don't give a shit anymore because everyone was not taking pictures because they didn't want to like, you know, he said no, like no pictures and whatever. He didn't want to like be intrusive with his privacy, but I didn't care. I was so wasted. I'm like, Leo, just let me take a picture with you. Like no one's gonna believe this. Like that I gotta tell my mom that I met you. He's like, Alex, like you can't, but here, let's go to the gym. He's like, I've got an idea. I'll do a photo shoot with you. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm in my baby dress, like my tape boobs, my crimped hair, my high heels. And he's like, get on the treadmill. I want you to run like as fast as you can in heels. And he's like, I'm going to do this like photo shoot. So I've got my wine. I'm on the treadmill. I'm running. And he's like down there. He's like, got the camera. He's like, click, click. He's like, no, like work this angle, work this angle. And I'm like living for it, like loving it. I still have the photos. So we might have to throw one of those up on the Off the Vine group.
Yeah, you have to.
And so anyways, that was my moment with him. But then we ended up going back up to his suite. He had taken a liking to one of my girlfriends. She'll remain unnamed. But we went back up to the suite. We were like shooting the shit with him. I know you do. And then they went off to a room and did their thing. And that's not my story to tell. And then we're just like waking up on the couch. His friend tried to hook up with me, and I said no because I had a boyfriend. Stupid me. But I wake up, my like dress is around my robes, my eyelashes are coming off. We're like walking down the hall in the morning. There's like bodyguards at the entrance, and we didn't even like talk until we got in the cab. And I'm like, what happened? She's like, I slept with Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm like, anyways, that's like my best story ever.
That's an incredible story. I love that story, and the Vinos will too. So thank you very much for sharing that.
They would appreciate it.
Ramen just turned my light on and off. No, Ramen's leaning on the light fixture, and he like came up and then I think he's holding the light on right now, which is really funny. Well, that's all we have time for, but I hope everyone got a little insight into the behind the scenes of Spade and Sparrows and a work life and work questions, but there's so much more than what we even talked about. But I think that was a good little, hour of.
That was a good start.
Yeah, a good start.
Yeah.
A good start. Yes. And I'm just so grateful for you and for our team and for all the supporters and buyers. And I just love it. I'm just so happy with where things are at, because usually I thought I had to have like 80 things on the docket to, look forward to or have. And now I'm like, I just want to eat, sleep, breathe, Spade and Sparrows, get it everywhere, and podcast.
Isn't that funny when you really like hone in and focus on your passions, and then you watch those explode and grow and evolve, and it's amazing. I think sometimes spreading yourself too thin is a bit of a.
I've done that, and that was really fun, and I could do it, and it got me doing, Dance with the Stars and certain things like that. And if other opportunities come, I've still got the what is it? The mojo? I still got the mojo for it.
That's spa.
Yeah, I could do it. I could do anything. But love you, and thank you for being on the pod today.
Love you. Thank you. Very happy to be here.
I'm Kaitlyn Bristowe. Your session is now ending. And if I'm being honest, I wouldn't mind a rating and review.